looking for a deep ball, going to throw one down the middle for Emmanuel Sanders. He's got it! He was knocked out. He can get up and run. He may have been touchdown. Breaks a tackle. 10-5. Touchdown! San Francisco.
We just saw some of the damage Emmanuel Sanders did to the Saints last year as a member of the 49ers. Well, he'll be making plays for Drew Brees and the Saints after signing a 2-year deal to play for New Orleans. On that note, we welcome Emmanuel Sanders to the show. Emmanuel, thank you so much for being here.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Decision to go to New Orleans. I heard your grandmother gave you some advice on this. Why did you ultimately decide that was the right fit for you at this point in your career?
Yeah, if you really think about it, a pass-happy offense, playing with Drew Brees in the Dome. I looked up the schedule. They got 11 games off in the Dome. Michael Thomas, being Michael Thomas's counterpart, and just all the pieces over there. Speaking of my grandma, 2 days prior to free agency, I called my grandma just to talk to her, and she was with my aunt, and she goes, "Well, we're over here praying that you go to the New Orleans Saints." That's what I thought you was calling me about, to tell me you were going to go to the New Orleans Saints. And free agency took like 3 or 4 days. It was a long process for me. Well, really 3 or 4 days, really not that long, but for me, it was a long process. And ultimately, I decided to go there because I feel like it was the best fit for me, and I'm excited. I feel like we got a great team, and I'm looking forward to it. On paper, we look very dangerous, but at the same time, I'm excited to get to work, and we got to put the work in to really make it happen. It's just not going to happen on its own.
Emmanuel Sanders, thank you for being on the show. I don't mean to cause any trouble. But I got to ask you this question, bro. You were in Pittsburgh. We know what quarterback that you had when you were in Pittsburgh. Then you went to Denver, and obviously Peyton Manning, and that was great. But once he left, we understood what quarterback troubles you had and how you are all world. You can ball, but damn it, you got to have somebody to throw you the football. You go to San Francisco. And now, after going all the way to the Super Bowl, you decide to go to New Orleans. Drew Brees as opposed to Jimmy Garoppolo. Can you talk to us? Could you talk to us about that, sir? And Drew Brees had a lot to do with you going to New Orleans?
Of course, but it had absolutely nothing to do with Jimmy Garoppolo. Hey, I love Jimmy, man. And, Hey, look, I know the media is always hard on Jimmy, and I don't get it. This is his guy. I got to make a case for my guy because I love my guy. This is his guy first year really starting and took us all the way to the Super Bowl. And literally, if we would have made a couple plays down the drive, y'all would be talking about Jimmy Garoppolo is the greatest thing since water. You know what I mean? And that's just how the cookie crumbles. But for me, I think just from a financial standpoint, from me being in my 11th year, wanting to be in a pass-happy offense, I think that's the reason why I ended up choosing the Saints. It had nothing to do with the Niners organization or anything. I just think that it was the best fit for me and the best fit for my family. And that's why ultimately I ended up deciding the New Orleans Saints. But now that I think about it, I'm excited to be back in the pass-happy offense. I was in June Jones' office in college, and I put up big-time numbers. And then in 2014, I was with Peyton in a pass-happy offense, and I put up big-time numbers. And so I'm interested to see what I'm going to do with the New Orleans Saints in this system.
Emmanuel, there's no doubt you're an excellent player, and I don't think Jimmy G was the issue. I do think there were other quarterbacks, Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, and these kind of guys. You haven't played with a lot of great quarterbacks. Jimmy G's probably the best of the bunch. Now you get Drew Brees, as you said, in a dome with Michael Thomas. You're set up lovely. I do want to, and I defend Jimmy G, but I do have to ask you about the overthrown pass in the Super Bowl. When you say if we would have made a few more plays down the stretch, well, that was a play that was on the quarterback, was it not?
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it is what it is. It's crazy when I walk in the airport. Me and Jimmy on that play, that could have been a legendary moment for the both of us. But at the same time, I believe in destiny, and it just didn't happen. We've made several plays. If you think about the Los Angeles Rams game, when it was the fourth quarter and the third down, and we completed that pass. It just happens, And I'm being honest when I tell you, guys, I don't even think about that play anymore because it is what it is. It just wasn't meant for us, And that goes credit to the Kansas City Chiefs. It was just their time. and it wasn't our time, and it just didn't happen, and that it wasn't supposed to happen for us, and that's just how I look at it. That's the only way you can look at it. But as far as people are on Jimmy and saying, "Oh yeah, this one play determines this guy's." Pretty much trying to break down his career based off this one play. That's not fair because this guy made several throws for us down the stretch. This guy made several plays to even get us in that position. So at the end of the day, it's one play, and I expect Jimmy to be the baller. He's been, all last year, the same this year, and hopefully we see those guys in the NFC Championship.
Emmanuel, I'm happy your grandmother's prayers came true. Oh, go ahead, Stephen A.
No. I want to chime in here because I want to go. All right, so it's not Jimmy G. Well, then, damn it, we got to ask you a question about Kyle Shanahan. I mean, he was the play caller. He is the head coach. And, oh, by the way, the man.
Oh. Emmanuel, we'll get back to Stephen A. in just a minute. I know he wants to go back to the Niners. He's not done with that. I can see his facial
expressions. The sports gods are tired of Stephen A. slandering Jimmy G. That's what that is.
Let's go back.
Let me get where I wanted to go with you here. And I was saying I'm happy your grandmother's prayers came true. You're going to be with the Saints, obviously, in the NFC South. There's someone else in the NFC South. Tom Brady makes the move there, facing him twice a year. What did you think of that move by TB12?
Yeah, I think it was a good move. If you look at the Bucs last year and the receivers that they have, and Godwin and Mike Evans, those are two great receivers. The numbers that they put up was in comparison to me and Demaryius Thomas in 2014, and I know what kind of year we had that year, and it was a special year. So I know that those guys are great players, and I think they're going to complement Tom Brady well. And I'm excited for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, they're in our division, but I got Bruce Arians over there. He's the guy who coached me with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I got a lot of love for Bruce. Mm-hmm. And I hope they finish second in the NFC South. I'm rooting for those guys to finish second.
Stephen A.
These did not last, my brother. So let me ask you this question. What about Kyle Shanahan? Was he a bit predictable? Was he a bit pedestrian with his play calling in the fourth quarter? How about that?
Not at all. If you go back and you really dissect that game, you will see that it was plenty of plays with Kyle Shanahan where we had them dialed up and they just made plays. It was two plays in which George Kittle, one of them was running wide open, and the D lineman just bashed the ball down. And he's running wide open, and that's a play call that Kyle drew up, But a lot of people are going to say, oh, yeah, it was Kyle, it was that throw, it was this. But they just played well, and it was their time. You can go back and look at the game. Go back and look at the game when that defensive lineman batted the ball down. It's just certain plays that they made where we were running wide open, but a lot of people say, oh, yeah, it was a bad call by Kyle, but it was really a great call. They just made the necessary plays. And I always say those batted balls, those two batted balls really hurt us. Those two batted balls really hurt us, and people really don't put too much emphasis on it, but they really hurt us, in my opinion.
All right, I'm going to defer to you, bro. I'm going to let him off the hook. I'm going to let it go, Emmanuel, because it's you.
Hey,
only because it's you. I'm going to let it go.
Get him to dish some dirt. He's being positive, Stephen A.
One thing about me, I'm going to keep it real, man. I'm going to keep it real.
I know that. I know it.
The Kansas City Chiefs, they played us well. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Emmanuel,
I'm going to defer
great
to you,
having
bro.
you with us.
Saints are going to be a whole lot
right there.
Right there.
Who's that?
Say your name, man.
My name is Princeton.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, Princeton.
Hanging out with Dad. He's having fun.
He's doing his homework right now. He's getting homeschooled. Go to your mom.
I love
There
it.
we go.
You're wearing all the hats.
Not
And I
so
want to
bad. Have
remind
shelter
everyone.
in place with the family.
Yeah, no question. Emmanuel, I wanted to make sure to remind everyone to check out thefangauge.com. That's a website that fans can choose a player like Emmanuel, other celebrities. You can upload pictures you want signed and even chat with them for a couple minutes, maybe talk to Princeton, too, between his schoolwork breaks, all that good stuff. And we can't wait to see you with the Saints next season when all our sports resume again. Great to have you with us.
All right, thank you guys for having me.
You just got Jimmy G off the
Your
hook.
first day to come